Hey everyone, hey Candid Culture. How's everyone doing tonight on Sunday, right? Sunday evening. How you doing, Misha, with your beautiful bandana?
Oh, thank you. You're looking beautiful as well. I'm good.
Thank you so much. Um, let's get it going for a Sunday afternoon. Ready to love was there's a lot. There's a lot to go through, y'all. There's a lot to go through. Um, hold on, let me get to the thing. Hey Monique. I knew you were in here. That's why I was like, well, I'm having mouse control issues. So, 1 second, Monique. Hey, how are you doing? Girl. Hey, Sharon. Thank you for tuning in to Crystal and Misha does reality reviews. Let's get it into the show. Ooh, we're gonna start from the top. I'm so glad. You know what? The links are a care of Misha Allen. I'm learning Canva, but she knows it, and I'm so glad that she started with this scene because I was gonna ask her about this scene, but I was like, make sure you ask her about this scene. Go ahead, Misha. What do you got on this one? This is Tasia. I'm pronouncing her name right, and she's sitting there with Walter, Corey, and I feel like his name is not Cliff. What's his name?
Philip.
Philip. Thank you. His name is Philip, and the
Mhm.
discrepancy with Philip is in one on OWN it looked like he was 51 years old, but it turns out he's like 37, and he didn't even talk to Tasia. And Corey, yeah, we'll get into Corey later on. Corey, he realized, he really stepped in it. But I gotta say, first of all, to see you looked beautiful and you're pretty in pink. Molly Ringwald ain't got nothing on you and you had the shades to match. So I'm gonna start there. Start with the good. Um, Even if you didn't try to come off like you were salty, I feel like it came off salty. And the point of the
Right.
brand, I just felt like it came off salty. I feel like you wanted to be better than that. You really wanted to see what is the issue, why was I on the bottom? But even if you were trying to like, let me see what I can do better, it didn't come off like that. What do you go ahead, Misha? What
hmm
do you think?
I agree. I think she was just trying, I think she was saying that to kind of get them to be more open or give her an honest reason for that. And on top of that, there was let me get my thoughts together. But I felt like she said, well, so I can improve so that they would be honest with her. Because men aren't honest when it comes to things like that because they feel like they're gonna hurt your feelings or this, that, or the other. So I feel like she just said that to get an answer. I don't think she really was like, okay, I'm gonna go back and change this or improve this or that. And she definitely, it was like, those people that say don't go to bed mad. It's like,
Right.
you can tell she definitely went to bed mad and salty because she woke up still mad and salty for this brunch. So yeah, I felt like she was hanging on that a little too much because it's probably not going to be the last time she's in the bottom. It's just that type of show. Like you never really know what could happen. It happens. And so Corey did crack me up with well, you like, what did he say? Something about, well, I
I
guess
messed
he was
up
trying to
already.
blame her. Like, you're the one that put me on blast with all his dates and all that. And I was like, really, Corey? And she's like, well, what was I supposed to do? Like, what did you, I don't know.
And he
But
said, you
I don't know,
know,
maybe he was just trying to get out of answering the question or being honest about it. But yeah, that's what
he
I
was already
felt
in
about
trouble,
this
and he
scene.
knew he was skating on thin ice, and he was sliding across the ice. So he was like, "I'll look if you can get me out of trouble, I'll marry you." At that point, like he was funny, that's true, but also she came in there. She came in there hot, like you said. She went to bed mad. She woke up mad, and she was talking to three of the guys that really didn't have too much of an interaction with her. So, and it was very pointed, like talk to like go one on one with the guys and say, so I know I was on the bottom last week. Like, talk to me, tell me what you think. Like, what can I do to improve? I really am here to find love. I'm here for the right reasons. She could have done it better, but she was like, listen, she was very pointed. And hey Kimberly, hey Kia, hey girl. Um, so yes, she was very pointed, and now I do agree. She looked really pretty in her Pretty in Pink, but she was talking to the wrong guys. She was talking to what's his name, Corey. Who she was talking to Corey and Walter, and who got their own issues with these women. So I don't even think that she should have addressed it, and she shouldn't have addressed it at that point. She should have went to these guys one on one and asked them. If she, to me, don't even ask. Like, today's a new day. Get over it.
Mm-hmm.
Get over it.
Exactly.
So yeah, I agree. Get over it. And I feel like she intentionally came in early. She's like, oh no,
Right? That's what she said. I'm glad I made it here and got the three of them alone. Like she came in like I'm not using this to get to know people. I'm just using this to get my answers and get a mimosa.
not get my answers and get a mimosa. Yes. Oh, this is one of my favorite scenes. You go ahead. You want to start?
I loved this scene. I love
I
Sabrina,
love
first of
Sabrina.
all. I really like how she just stuck it to him. Like, why are you trying to get me on a date? We don't know each other. We don't know if we like each other. Let's just start there. Let's see if we even like each other. She's one of the only ladies I really saw put him in his place versus some of the other women. I don't know. I don't know what it is about Corey. I just feel like some of the women are just falling under this spell. I don't know where it came from. But these same women that were so like mad at Corey, it's like they're now like, okay, we can go on a date. Okay. And she's like, no, we're gonna sit here, we can talk. And that's that. So yeah, I love the scene. I love that blazer, like the blonde, the finger waves, the blazer, the shoes. Oh my god, this
Yes.
outfit. This was like my favorite. Every time they kept showing her, I was staring at that green, like, yes.
That's exactly what I was going to start with. First, her shoes, and I just loved her tapping her foot. Like, and it's so funny that you know how the nonverbal communication can tell you a lot, right? They made sure and put the camera on her shoes,
Mhm.
just tapping her feet like she is so done with this conversation. And she just comes off so
Right.
listen, I'm above this. I'm not about this conversation. Like, you got to come at me better than this. And I just think that Sabrina, she knows who she is. She knows who she is, and she ain't not about the BS, and she's not going to let anybody just come at her any kind of way. So I just love how she carries herself. And it's almost like I think that people have underestimated her for years. They think the blonde hair, they look at her a certain way, and perception. And she's like, oh no, I'm about my business. I'm intelligent and I'm smart and I carry myself a certain way. So I just love how she really portrays herself. Now let me get to this conversation with Mr. Corey. Corey, she really lets you know this is not the way you do it. That's not the way you talk to people. That's not the way you present yourself to a lady. Like, let's get to know each other. Don't come at me and say, hey, let me have a date. I just feel like there was the way he came at her, she needed to say, that's not the way you do it. Like, and she was like, let's talk, let's get to know each other. What's wrong with us just having a good conversation? I mean, I just loved Sabrina in this, and I really think there's going to be more for her, more with her in the future. Um, but I almost feel like I don't know that there's any of these guys that are measuring up to her. You understand what I'm saying? So, I mean, we'll see more in the future, but I don't know that there are. Yeah.
I agree with that, Crystal, because she is 45. And age wise, there aren't a lot of men that are on her level. Cause like she said, you need to be on my level or better. So I don't know. I don't think there's like a seasoned enough gentleman there for her.
Right.
Besides, I kind of sensed something with Walter, but he seemed like he still wants to be a playboy. Like, I don't think he's really ready to let all that other stuff go. So, other than that, yeah, I don't really see nobody that's really there for her. That could work long term. I don't see it.
I agree. You know, I got a little bit of I just don't see it with Walter either. I feel like Walter is a lot like I wasn't thinking that he was a lot like Joel in the beginning. Now I see he's a little bit more like Joel than meets the eye. And I said, he's not, yeah, not long term. Now, oh, you think so, AW? I don't let. Mm, we'll talk about
We
that in a
gonna get
second.
into
We're gonna get
Tyrone
into
Child, but
we're
no.
gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that. Um, uh, and yeah, I don't think that the other women are falling for Corey either. But we're gonna get into that in a second. So, oh Lord, yes, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. You want to go ahead? You go ahead first with Miss Camille.
I don't even know where to begin. My whole thing with this was I don't even know where to begin. Let me see where I should begin. I have so many different opinions, but I'll start with the whole celibate abstinence, waiting before marriage. So it's like they're sitting like on opposite sides because it's like Camille and Cornelius they're for that, and then you have Walter and what is his name, Courtney. They're
Yeah,
like, no, that's not no. But I'm like, okay, Courtney, you sound a little double-minded because why? How are you this devout Christian that's praying over your man every time he leaves the house, but you have no revelation of being abstinent or celibate?
talk
So
about it.
it really did not make any sense. So I feel like she was putting on with that, the whole praying for your man. I think she knew because like she said she likes southern men that were raised right, so she probably knew Cornelius had a church background, and hearing that she said something that she knew would get him or hook him in, like hook him. And to be honest, during this whole scene, I felt that Camille is a better match for Cornelius, but I feel that she's going to push him away with the whole don't touch his leg and don't be looking over there. I really feel like it's like Denise from season 3 and Kenya Moore, like they morph them together and was just like, okay, this is who Camille's gonna play. And I just feel like that's like the angle I'm getting from her. I don't think Courtney is a better match, but I think she has a better chance of getting him because she's not coming at him with that approach. But I just I hope he can pick up. I hope he has some type of discernment because here's my take on Courtney. Like I said last episode, she comes off very masculine to me, but I feel like she gets a pass because she's light skinned. She has the features that certain men want. So I feel like she gets a pass for that, and sort of the aggression is underlooked, like the touching the leg, the leading with sex, and no one sees that as aggressive, but they will pull the aggressive card on Camille. Camille is being aggressive in a sense, but so is Courtney. But I feel like that's being overlooked by a simple skin tone, features, that whole thing. But I didn't like Walter with the whole I'm not doing abstinence because if I want something, I need it now. I was like, so you have no self control.
Walter said sex
So
over everything. That's what he said. He said the word sex over everything.
yes, I was like, so that showed me he has no self control. So even if you were with someone, if you see somebody else that you like, you probably won't be able to control yourself or to stay in line. So yeah, I was looking at everybody like, yeah. But what did you think?
Okay. I'm gonna start from Miss Camille. I'm gonna start from the beginning. I'm gonna give a little a PSA. Camille, you are a beautiful lady. You do not have to resort to gameplay. You literally set up this double date because you're really interested in Cornelius, but you wanted to see how Cornelius is with another woman. That is underhanded. That is, you said in your TMA, your ITM, your what we call talking head, that
Confessional.
your confessional, that I used to do games. I don't play games anymore. But that's exactly what this is. You weren't Walter's, maybe your number two, or really down the line for you. You really wanted to have Walter hook up with Courtney, or yeah, with Courtney. You wanted Cornelius to yourself. One, that's not only setting up Cornelius, but then that's also using Walter. So I'm sorry, but that whole thing, you don't have to do that. If when you resort to game playing like that, that that looks makes you look bad. That makes you look like a user. And Walter picked up on that because he's like, let me just eat my shrimp. He's like, what am I even doing here? Because he knew that he was out of place at that point. So this conversation though, talking about sex. Now, I don't and you and I have been talking about this. Courtney coming off as masculine is interesting to me. Um, but she has been very forthright. But then she'll say stuff like, "I pray for my man." I'm very much and Kia said something the other night on Kojo's show. Just because you're a PK, I guess Camille is a PK, preacher's kid. That don't mean that you're of the spirit and that you are God fearing woman and that you are going by the Bible. That don't
I
mean that you,
agree. I
yeah.
agree.
So, and I
But I
also think something that
respect
you just
what I'll
said.
add real quick. I respect that she didn't go overboard with it. You notice she kind of held back, I felt, whereas Courtney was like, I pray, I do this, I do that. She said she was a PK, she was raised in the church. And I like that she didn't, I noticed it, is what I'll say. I noticed she didn't go overboard with all the things she does and doesn't do.
So what was interesting is and Cornelius and her had a at the cocktail party. She was the one. As soon as she met Cornelius, she was calling him her her boyfriend and all this other stuff, right? I feel like that's when we found out that he is abstinent. She found that out. She's the one that introduced the conversation about sex and sex before marriage and being abstinent. She's the one that Camille is the one that introduced the subject. I know that I feel like she and Cornelius had that conversation the night before, and she was going to put Courtney on blast. She said, "Oh, let him know that Courtney ain't about that. And if you want a real God fearing woman, you're gonna find her with me." Like she was trying to disparage Courtney in the process of building herself up. And you don't have to play those games. Yeah, look, AW, look, exactly. That's what. Okay, so I'm gonna get into Mr. Walter right now, but I want to put up what Chendi said for a second. Did I get it? I missed it. Chendi. Um, Walter married his wife by ultimatum. He was an F boy and is back on those streets. But he was after she passed away, and that's when he became an F boy, from what I understand. Now he has been out in the streets after she passed away. He was like, I'm out there. I'm out in these streets for a long time. So he's been out in these streets for like 9 years. So now he figures he's ready for love. So I think that that is very suspicious too. Um, yeah, I don't. There's just something about Walter. I appreciate that his wife has passed away and everything. But I just think I don't know. There's something about him. I feel like he's the type that will bring you in, tell you everything you want to hear, and then let you down. I just get that feeling. I don't know. And I feel bad because that's the same kind of feeling I had about Joelle. Um, Miss Courtney with the half shirt. You don't have to do that either. Just like Misha just said, you are doing this stuff. You said that um my love language is physical touch. He just needs to change his love language to suit mine, so I can touch, so he can touch me. I was like, what, stop. And I was like, she doesn't have to lead with sex. She's gonna get him. You know what I'm saying? So she's very double-minded. She's very double-minded. And um I think that, yeah, this is not going to end well for her or Camille. And Camille needs to stop playing these games because she can get a man without the games, but she's very possessive. And I think that her and Cornelius might be a good match if she stopped playing these games. Yeah.
I agree. I think it's gonna end like Denise and Calfani, like how Denise was so jealous and he was getting turned off by it, and then eventually he was just like, you know what, I'm going with Adriana because he didn't want to deal with it anymore. So
He
I
doesn't like
hope
the jealous
she.
spirit. He didn't like the jealous
Mhm.
spirit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hope she wakes up and realizes because Cornelius seems like a good catch. He is probably the only one on the show that I'm like, okay,
I
like
agree.
I might want to go on a date with him too, but
I
he's
agree.
literally the only one on the show. So I'm like, girl, don't mess up. And then I feel like she's kind of shooting herself in the foot because she's not really, it doesn't seem like she's open to getting to know anyone else.
That
So if
part.
you're already pushing away Cornelius and Cornelius get tired of you, you going home.
You have a good point. I totally agree with that. She has not. And you know what? I want to go real quick to the end of the show. Remember at the end? So she has put all her eggs in the Cornelius basket, right? And then all these other ladies are like, I like Cornelius too. I like Cornelius. We spent 3 hours on the phone. She's like, like her jealousy, she was exuding jealousy. She need to stop. She need to stop.
I agree with Kia. She said they must have passed out copies of the book Love Language prior to taping. I was
Yes.
like, every single scene, you heard the word love language. And I was like, did producers hold up like a cue card, say love language here,
Yes.
insert love language here? It was just like, if it wasn't love languages, it was sex. It was like, we'll get into that other scene
Right.
later, but it was just, yeah, it was too much.
So you're right. So and I get that a lot of people want to talk about love language, but when you talked about it so much, especially in the first two episodes, we're like, that's it enough. Like, why don't you try to find out what each other's love language is after getting to know each other? Y'all are just love language this, what love language that. And honestly, are you even, love languages change. You're just saying something to move the story along. I don't even believe you know what each other's love language is when you keep doing that. So, Janika, you think that, okay? Yeah, Camille. Because I think Camille is the next one to go because she chases Cornelius. Yes, she is chasing him. The next scene is next week is a skating rink, but I don't think she's next to go. I think that they like the drama. I think that she's going to be there for at least 2 or 3 more weeks. I think she's just, yeah, they're going to keep her around because she likes to mix it up. She likes to mix up the drama. All right, let's go to the next scene. Oh, you still, oh, you did, okay, okay, we talked about this. First of all, go ahead. So you're laughing. I forgot that she put this scene in, but look at how Cornelius is looking at Camille, and then so y'all,
He
if
like,
you
I don't
remember
know
this
about
scene,
that one.
right? But if y'all remember the scene, if you remember the scene at the end, he was saying, she said, can I touch your thigh? Can I touch you here? And he was like, yeah, sure, you can touch me here. And Camille's like, no, she can't. No, she can't. No, she can't. So he's looking, he's like, oh, like that just makes it, that's just disrespectful to what's his name? Walter. It just makes it so inappropriate and awkward. It just makes it awkward. And I was like, I know Courtney can see your facial expressions. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. So Chindi, therapy, love language, and abstinence seems to be the trend. Mm-hmm. That's when Walter's picking up his drink, and he's like, "Okay, well, let me just eat my shrimp."
Can we get into Walter talking like he got to get back to the office? I'm
Yes.
like, boy, you ain't got no office. You just say you got to go.
I don't blame him though. I don't blame him. I don't blame him though, because she's like, and like, but see, why is she trying to be a teacher here though? Why is she trying to be like she's trying to tell him what to do?
She really is. That's one of her
High
students.
vibes. High vibes that Cornelius gives me bisexual vibes. High vibes. I don't get that at all, but oh my goodness.
Some moments during the episode 1, whatever the casting special, it was just his mannerisms, but since then I haven't really seen nothing, but I feel like he has the most to offer out of the men, so I hope not, but
I don't get that, but I don't like to speak about that just yet. You know me,
right.
just like our
I
friend.
like him though. I really
I do. I
like
like
him.
Cornelius. I don't. I won't say just yet. Let's see. Oh Lord.
They was dry humping on the tree. Like what was going on? I was sitting there like, and okay, where do we begin? Okay, let's start with
I
okay.
want
He helped he helped fix her flat tire. And that's
to.
how they got here, because he fixed the flat tire. If it wasn't for him doing that, nobody wanted nothing to do with him
Nothing.
until he did that. And now they're here, and I'm just like, I feel like Moomin, I think that's her name, Moomin. Here's the thing. All ladies, we deserve nice treatment, period. Regardless, we don't need to give anything. We don't owe a man because he did something nice for us. So I felt like she's putting too much weight on this flat tire. Like, all he did was fix the flat tire, say thank you so much, I appreciate it. Okay, but I feel like she's kind of in this, now I owe you, or now like we need to go on a date so I can repay you. You don't have to repay him for that. And it was like, I could see her, to me, I felt she was uncomfortable by him being behind her alone. And then he started doing the little pumps. And I was like, oh no. It seemed like she got more uncomfortable, but it's like she didn't say nothing, because I felt like she had this attitude like, I owe him something for his nice gesture. And I hope it reminded me of having a good first date. Like I was one of those, if I had a good first date, then I was like, okay, let's jump into this. Now we go together. When it wasn't necessarily time for that, I still needed to get to know him, yada yada. So I felt I just felt like she's put too much weight on this flat tire scenario. And yeah, I wish she would have. Well, he did. I don't think he asked her like he did Tasia, whatever her name is. Like when he hugged her at the end and she said, I'm not comfortable with that or something, but he asked her. And I felt like with her, he didn't even ask her. He just started pumping away. And I was like, no, that's not what you do here. And I was like, how many trees has he done this on? Because it seemed very familiar. Because he got up, he hopped. It almost seemed planned because it was like a certain amount of time he set up, went over there, then started pumping away. And I was like, what? Like I don't know if production put him up to that, but it seemed like he done that before.
Okay, yes, it seemed like he done that before, but I'm gonna start with thank God for flat tires because he would have been out of here. That and that little
Thank God.
gesture.
So you like him?
No, I
Is that
don't
what
like
you're
him.
saying?
No, I'm saying he's thinking that I don't like Corey. Corey, oh my
Okay.
God, Corey gets on my nerves. No, I'm saying he's thinking, thank God for flat tires. And that's what he said after leaving with Sabrina. I see Moomin with a flat tire, so I asked her on a date, and I said, if she did not have a flat tire, yo, but would have been out of here. He would have left. They would have got rid of him instead of Carrington. Absolutely. This whole date, and so this is what I think of Corey. One, things are gonna go like he needs these damsel in distresses, or he'll never get a leg up because he's very not just corny, it's awkward, and it's gonna go inappropriate very quickly. And he's even said, I'm good on a first date, but I can't get second dates because you act awkward like this, because you act inappropriate like this. And she thought he was gonna help her down off the tree. And then he comes up and goes behind her. And I thought to myself, thank goodness you are being followed by a film crew. Because I'm like, where are they walking? Like, this man is going to attack her and leave her in the woods. I was like, what is wrong with you people that you thought that his awkwardness is cute? It's not cute. And yeah, he's a first date because people like that Urkel type of mentality. They think that, oh, that he's cute or he's awkward or something like that. And then they see, oh no, this guy is inappropriate and wildly like awkward and just, and I don't even like the word cringe, but I could see where this is not good. Like there's so many things. Like if you could just sit and have a conversation. He's the type of guy, he thinks he needs his when you say a person that has no game, his game is not having game. That's the type of person he is. That's what he relies on. I don't have game. I don't, so this is what I'm gonna just be. And I can see that he'll try something quickly. Like, and him doing that to Tasia was absolutely inappropriate. That was just like we said about Troy last season. Like, you're doing too much. You need to just, and I don't think that he looks at women like women. Like, he doesn't look at us as actual like humans. He just wants to like come and like do something, you know? And Sabrina did not fall for his antics. Sabrina did not fall for his double talk. Um, yeah, I think that Moon's like, fine, I'll go out on a date with you. Thank you so much. As a gesture, thank you for fixing my tire. So, because other people probably on the street was just passing her right by. And then he comes out and he fixes the tire. Great. You get one date, but that doesn't mean that you can be inappropriate. And why didn't you just help her off the tree and let it in there? And then he says, can I kiss you? He said, if I kissed you, would you tell everybody? And she said, yes. And he said, okay, I won't kiss you, because he knows just like at that cocktail party, he has what? Five, he probably has more than 4 women on a date. You're doing too much, and somebody actually needs to talk to him. I'm actually just, yeah, he makes me
And
nervous.
what happened? What happened during that date that merited for a kiss? Like, it was like, I agree what you're
Absolutely nothing.
saying. Like, he doesn't look at women as women, because when Tasia came to that brunch in the blazer, you really didn't see anything,
I
a
agree.
reaction out of him. But when she came to the elimination dinner, whatever you want to call it, in a like tank top dress, he was like, he couldn't keep his hands off of her. And I'm just like, it's
Yeah,
the same woman.
it's the
So
same. He
yeah.
doesn't. He looks at us as interchangeables. That she's just another woman. Like he doesn't have any. He knows that, and in his head, he didn't understand that you're close to being eliminated. Like he's just like sitting across from her. He's probably looking at her chest the whole time. You understand what I'm saying? Like he didn't actually. He's almost like, you know how Jose doesn't listen. He's almost like, I'm not listening to your words. You're saying, I'm looking at your chest. Like she's just another woman. I just feel like I don't like Corey. I'm actually very concerned. Like every date that if Moomin takes him out, goes on another date, it has to be in a public place. Don't invite him back to your house. I just, yeah, it's so inappropriate. And and I don't even know that he means to. The sad thing is he doesn't think that he's being inappropriate. It's those men that don't think, they think that it's okay. You understand what I'm saying? That's the bad thing. Men that like Troy, just like I give him a little kiss, like copy and paste. He's like, oh, she's just another woman. Just copy her and paste her onto another body. That's exactly what he looked at. That's how he looked at Tasia. Um, yeah, yeah. That he's thinking, thank God for a flat tire because he would have been gone. I think he still needs to go. I think he still needs to go. And it's just, ugh. It's just like, why get on the back of her? Like, and and I don't mind awkward jokes, but you're just being too awkward. You're just being, just stop. And I think that Moomin, at least like you saw, that wouldn't have worked with Sabrina. That wouldn't have worked with Sabrina or even
He
Camille.
knew exactly who to do that with, because certain women he asked for permission. With her, there was no permission. It was just like, how far can I get? Can I kiss you? Okay, if I get a kiss, can I rub your booty? It was like he just wanted to keep going past the limit with her. And like, I think it was AW said about her being like all excited, or like her bar is low. And I think he knows that. He knows that her standards are low. She probably, because I think she called him or something when she got home, letting him know she's okay. And he
Yes,
probably can tell from that she not used to nothing. So I think that's why he had that sort of I don't know what you call it, thing towards her. Whereas I'm just going to test how far I can get. But with
yes.
other women, he asks for the permission.
Right. Yeah. He knew that he's going to keep testing to see how far. And that's when I say sometimes I'll say a man's going to be a man regardless. What I mean that is, if a man's going to try to test you, a guy is going to try to test to see how far they can go. And I think he might be deep down a nice, sweet guy, but that doesn't know that he doesn't need a shtick. He doesn't need but he's so awkward, and I think it's a very much a confidence issue. He lacks confidence, so he needs to do all of these wildly inappropriate things to get a woman, and you don't need that. Just be yourself. um I'm wondering if we'll ever be able to pull back his layers. I don't think we will. I don't think so. I think this is the closest we're going to get, but we'll see. Hey, what did you think of Tyrone? And
I still don't like Tyrone. I'm
um,
still not over him throwing his mama under the bus. I don't know when I'll get over it, but I'm hanging that over his head. I don't care. I'm still, he got on national television talking about my mama had men all up and through the house. So yeah, I don't like him from that alone. The first, it was like a repeat of Jason and Kyra's first date, when they sat down and Jason tells Kyra about his depression, anxiety. I felt like it was a repeat of that. I don't feel, might have been production set up, like production led, because I don't feel that's really needed on a first date. Like I've always said on my channel regarding these shows, do not disclose personal information so soon to strangers. You don't know this woman at all. So I just didn't think it was necessary for a first date. Like, I'm a single mom. So, yes, I'm going to disclose that I'm a mother, I have a daughter, but that's not all I'm going to lead with. Yeah, I have a mother of a child, but I like to do this, I like to do that. I love this restaurant over here. Maybe we can try. I'm not going to put like that's all I have to bring to the table. And then we have Nadia, whatever the girl name is. She was acting like a caretaker. I was like, is this a client and patient? Like patient and caretaker? Because she was acting like she was doing an intake to be his at-home caregiver. And I was like, okay, you must be one of them fixer-uppers or one of them women that likes to take care of their men or something. Like what I got from this sit down, I felt like Nidia had a soft spot for him, and now she's going to go into this role, almost like a motherly role, this caretaker role for him. And then now Tyrone's going to leave with, she understands me. Now I can relax. Now I don't have to try and change in a sense. Like I can be like, she'll accept my issues, my baggage, because now she knows and she's cool with it. That's what I got from it. Or maybe she's maybe she's looking at, he said I pay attention. He said he was in the military. He's been rated. So what that means is, so basically there's veterans disability. So if you rate above a 10%, you get that check, honey. So I don't know if because he did say that. So I don't know if she picked up on maybe he getting that check. And so I don't know. So yeah, I don't know if she picked up on that or but it seems what I picked up was she's like a nurturer, caretaker. I think that's in her, but I just hope she doesn't take on that role for him, because that's not her job to do that.
Okay, so a couple of things. As you know, you and I know the military. We're both from California. My father and stepfather were in the military, and my stepfather, excuse me, 2 tours into Vietnam. So I am still side-eyeing him about the mommy conversation. I did not like that. And honestly, I'm one of the people that said that he was next to go home. I thought it was going to be him instead of Carrington. So I guess I got to eat a little crow on that. But this conversation right here is so interesting because I'm looking back on this conversation and the cocktail party. And then they had a lot of pictures of him in his military garb. And me and eyes, like when we talk about Ryan, I'm like, there's a drum line going behind his eyes. And I'm like, the reason why he's so wide eyed is because he's always alert. He is sitting on ready when he probably walks into a room looking for the exits. So, so I kind of get that. I understand that culture, right? Or I understand that. I still don't like what he said about his mother, because anytime you say negative things, and we had a show about red flags, you say negative things about your ex. I'm like, well, what were you doing when your ex was being this all kinds of everything? So when I think about the stuff that he said about his mom, I'm like, what was your daddy doing when she was doing what she was doing? Like, I just don't trust that. At the same time, he has been through a lot. So I look at this conversation, and you're right. It did remind me of Liz and Jay. Not Liz. What's her name? It reminded me of Jason and what's her name? You know who I'm talking about. So Kyra.
Kyra.
It reminded me of Liz, Kyra I'm still trying this, Kyra and Jason. Um, so they keep repeating scenes and thinking that we're not picking it up. So, but it's just different interactions, but or maybe different storylines, but the storylines are still on the same wavelength. Um, I kind of liked this scene though. I kind of liked that we kind of took a little more deep dive into him and his personality and what's kind of driving him even after the mommy issue. So you've got mommy issues and then you've got PTSD. You've got a lot, excuse me, going on with you. Kyra, or not Kyra, Zadia is her name. Zadia or Zadia. She actually comes off really sweet. She's a very pretty girl, and she's actually from Atlanta. And uh, I think that she's also about her business. She says she does breathing exercises in the morning, and uh, I actually think that they actually look like a really good. He needs somebody that's going to be a not a caretaker. I hate to say a caretaker for him, but he needs somebody that's going to be sensitive to him. Even with the mommy issues, I think that his mother may not have been this nice, sweet, extra sensitive mother. I think that somebody, you got a visitor in behind you. Um, I think that his mother, I think that he's taking it totally different, and his mother probably wasn't the type of mother he wanted. But um, I do question her being in the streets. I just don't think that. I just can't believe him on that because I don't know the woman. Um, so I actually like them together. I want to see how this goes. I want to see how long he's going to last. I still don't like what he said about his mother. Um, but I'm going to be paying attention to him a little more because I'm like, if he's got PST, the slightest thing, if he's not medicated, like you said, the ratings and stuff like that, the slightest thing is going to send him through the door, through the roof. So, and you could just see his eyes. Like, and I also think in social situations like that day at the cocktail party, maybe that's why I did not like him at the cocktail party either, because he just looked real fidgety. It just makes him super uncomfortable and anxious. I think that cocktail party in loud, large crowds probably make him super anxious. So I am going to be keeping my eye on him. That's what I got to say about it. And that is a good point you said about them and these personal conversations so quickly on the first date, because a lot of them are doing this. This is so weird. So go ahead. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna I agree with you, and I agree with the high vibes comment about starting off with all your problems though is another test. That's what I felt he was doing with her. I felt like once he saw she accepted, once I don't know if it was just me, but it seemed like when he started talking about PTSD, like her eyes lit up, like another project, another. I don't know. That's just what I picked up, but I think he was testing her, so he know, kind of like with Corey. He want to see how far he can get. He wants to know his limits. So I do feel like it was a test. I do feel like he was testing her to see, how much she'll put up with him from him, maybe in the future.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And honestly, and judging from the last conversation that the ladies had, I think that he probably can't take more than three women. He probably needs to just find his top two and pursue them, or top three and pursue them, excuse me. And anything over that, he's not gonna make it. Like it's not gonna there's no way emotionally that he can only handle so much emotionally. So yeah, Mr. Corey, or Mr. I just said Mr. Corey, Mr. Tyrone. Yeah, this is where she was being real like, oh yay, another project. Like, and she's really trying to be understanding, and she's saying that she does breathing exercises in the morning, and she's really into helping him. Okay.
I want to start this off by saying this man employment title didn't change so many times. You know, when we first was introduced to him, he was a nightlife CEO. Then at the Mixer, he turned into a marketing CEO. Now he a whole event coordinator. I was like, boy, what do you do? I almost feel like
telling you.
Martin. Like, Tommy, you ain't got no job. You ain't got no job, man.
You're absolutely right, though. I was like, event planner. What is happening?
Like, handed out flyers
He's
in the
handing out
parking lot
flyers.
do not make you no event coordinator. Like, sit down, sir.
Yes, AW, he is handing out drink coupons. I'm telling y'all. Yes, oh gosh, he's handing out flyers at events in the front of the bar. He is handing out flyers and drink coupons. Oh goodness. Okay, so I really want to talk about Miss Aisha. Let's go first Aisha, then the smoke. Okay, let's start with Miss Aisha. I did like how Aisha. I'm gonna see how many, because you like to do 2 and 3 pictures. So I'm gonna see. So I'm gonna start with Miss Aisha. She said, "I really want to ask as many questions. I'm going to start with the questions, because she's trying to qualify him." At first, like you said about the other conversation, I was like, "Ooh, this. I don't know about this. I don't know that, but I don't know that you should just fire off like rapid fire all of these high value questions so quickly on the first date." But I think that she's putting him off to the right person though. She needs to, especially him. He needs to answer these questions. Um, I need breathing exercises for this scene. Yes, Chindy, we need breathing exercises for this scene. So him and so she's asking him, uh what happened in your last relationship? And he said, I think the kids call them situationships. Um, he's never had a girlfriend, but then doesn't he have 1 or 2 kids, y'all? Do y'all remember if it's 1 or 2 kids? Um, he's only I'm still back on the kids call them situationships. Um, he doesn't have a problem. He's like, she said, I'm 38 and you're 33. Do you have a problem with that? He said, no, I've dated older than that. My last girlfriend was much older than you. So he's doing too much in this scene. I appreciate that she was like, I need to ask him all these questions because if he ain't it, I need to move on. So I appreciate that she got really emotional when talking about her kids. She was very honest. She said, I've been married, she said, from 19 to 33, I think she said. So she's been married like most of her adult life. And she's raising 2 boys, and that's what's so important for her. So I really appreciated Aisha. Every time I think of her name, I think of the song by ABC, um, Another Bad Creation. So I liked her. I liked her in this episode. I'm gonna go to Mr. Carrington. I just said Miss Carrington. That's so funny. Miss Carrington, he's been in only situationships. He is doesn't have an actual 401k, I assume, because he's handing out drink coupons. But it seemed like he really liked it. I don't know, he really liked her. But not having a girlfriend, but you're having 2 kids. It's just the double talking. She knew by the end of the date that he's not the one for me. She knew it. She knew. You go ahead, Misha, because I know I'll think of something else, but I just can't think of anything right now. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll start with Aisha, just like you. I don't know if she went and recolored that wig, but it was hitting this episode. Like, even when she walked into the brunch, I was like, okay. Like, when she had the little white crop top and the pink jeans, and she was like, I was breaking everybody's neck. I was like, yes.
Yeah, she was dressed. She was dressed very pretty.
But she looked very nice this whole episode.
How old are his kids? I feel like they were like, does he have 2
I
kids?
don't think he said an age. He claimed one
Right.
on the show. He claimed only one. So yeah, I don't know about that. But the whole vulnerability and opening up, I was just sitting there like wrong person, wrong person. Like he don't really need to know that, and I'm glad she definitely did. But I think okay. So I just the moment she had, and then I don't know, like everybody said, Carrington has his representative. I feel like he was playing a role with the whole I'm not going to say anything, I'm not going to, I think it's best in the situation that I just sit here and let her cry her eyes out. I'm not going to do. I was like, boy, you didn't want to do nothing. Like, if you don't stop, like, so I agree with the ladies that he had this representative. I knew he was a representative because the things that people have been saying on Facebook and all these different places, and then for you to come on the show, yeah, I'm a marketing CEO and I was like, boy, if you don't sit down, I don't think his age has anything to do with being ready for love or marriage, like Aisha was saying. I think it's just him. Like, we'll get into that later scene, but I don't want to go too far yet.
Yeah,
but
I agree. I don't think his age has anything to do with it. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. So so yeah, but I just the whole time I was sitting there like I should know, like I don't fault her at all for being vulnerable and open, but I just feel like wrong person. But yeah, Karen, he seems like he's all about appearance, like he every time he interacts with the women, like with Aisha, with Camille, he talks about their appearance. So I don't know if it was in this chat or another chat, talked about like him maybe playing for the other team because they be into women, high maintenance women, like in heels, dresses, full face of makeup all the time. So that's what he seems like he's into. Like he just seems like he's into the scene. Even when he sat down, like we're in a sexy spot in the middle of DC and it's looking, I was like, boy, shut up. Like so I'm just getting from him that he's into appearances and stuff like that. So it doesn't surprise me that he's never been in a relationship. Have those women been in a relationship with him? I beg to differ. I'm sure there's plenty of women that thought they were with him and that that was his man. He came on the show claiming one kid, but it's been said that he has 2 kids. So that was like, and he just got a whole bunch of red flags from his employment to the kids to the representative. He just got all these red flags just flying at you. So yeah, that's what I think about him. Yes.
Y'all, these comments, wealth and health, and Chin D. Chin D said he needs a place to live.
That's why he go for older women. That's why men like that say, "Oh, I like older, more mature." So yeah,
Say that. That's just like Mr. What's his name in this flat tire? I'll fix her tire and then she'll fix me dinner. Like no, I'm not buying it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, we skip the other cocktail party? Oh, we got more.
No, I thought maybe I misplaced it. I know I put it in there.
But actually, this is the end, right? Well, this is the cocktail party. Yeah, okay.
Where did it go?
Oh, we got to go. It must be. Uh-oh.
I think I forgot. I thought I had added it. I must, but let's talk about that because I forgot where I put it. But
okay, go ahead.
So there was Shiloh, Naeem, Nadia, Tisha. Who? But there's five people. I
Tasia,
don't know who the fifth person
Tasia.
is. Dante. Was it Dante? I think it was
I think it
Dante.
was Dante. I think it was Dante.
But
Yeah.
they had their own fifth wheel type of. I don't know. I don't know
Who do you
what
think
it
was the fifth
was.
wheel to you? Who was the fifth wheel to you?
Um,
I think it was Tasia.
I think she might have been like the awkward one out because she wasn't gonna like go in. I applaud her for holding her ground and not like
I agree.
getting around them and letting them influence her. Because when they asked that question about where's the craziest place you had sex, everyone was just lit up and, oh, let me tell you, let me outdo your answer. And she's like, no, that's between me and that person. And I respected that because it's like I said, there's certain things you don't really need to talk about that early and getting to know someone, and definitely not in a group like environment. So yeah, I like that she held her ground. Everybody, I don't know if they talk about love languages this season too. I'm pretty sure, not season, the scene too. They probably did, but yeah, it was just awkward. It didn't make no sense. I think. But anyway, the pictures I have for it were so bad because the angles were so bad because you got five people in a dark bar. I'm like, what? Like, what is this? It yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to find it to see if maybe I don't see it, but they're not here. But y'all know what we're talking about. It was the five of
Yes.
them, and yeah, it just looked really awkward. It was Shiloh, and what's interesting about this is it's almost like this scenario is almost either perfect for her or like it bodes some investigation on her part or on our part because she's an intimacy coach, but she's single. I don't want to say but she's single. She's an intimacy coach. She is single. But I feel like isn't she the one to introduce the conversation um about having sex and there's two different things. There's romance, intimacy, and sexual chemistry or something like that. Um, to me, a man, if he hears you, I want to be romanced, or I want romance, he's like, I got to pay for something, or not. I don't want to say that like that, but like, yeah, there's some romance involved. A man hears sexual chemistry, oh, she's ready to have sex. A man wants intimacy, okay, she likes to be touched. And this whole scene, one, why are they even talking about that? I really do applaud Tasia for saying, I don't need to talk about that right now, you know? And these guys might be thinking, I don't know what they're thinking, that she's uptight about it or what, but I agree. This is not the scenario where she needs to be telling her uh the craziest places that she's had sex. She needs to be, if she wants to be much more respectful in that scenario, then I absolutely agree with her on that. uh but Shiloh and it was Naeem said that he had sex in the shower and it's dangerous. I said, yeah, it's dangerous. You probably slept and fell on your ass. But yeah, that whole scene was.
Or people pass out from that, from
Yeah,
all the steam and the heat, and they bent over and stuff. So
and
some
old
people
girl
have
said, well,
passed
that's
out
what.
from that.
Yeah, old girl said that's okay because I know CPR. I was like, y'all,
I
y'all
was
ain't got.
like, she doing too much for me. Like you already trying to how you gonna give Naeem CPR when you over there being a caretaker at Tyrone's house? Like how does that work? How you gonna do like she
I
just
agree.
doing I don't know.
I didn't
I don't know
understand
what
it. I
she
was like,
doing.
what?
She doing
They-
too much for me. I'm just like, girl, sit down.
yeah, and now in the first episode, what was that last week? We were like, I like Zadia. Like, why didn't they show more of her? We know why they didn't show more of her, and said it already that they were giving more.
Oh, is her name Zadia? I've been calling her Nadia.
You happen, but it's
Girl.
with a Z. But and I tried to correct you, but I looked up and I was still on mute, and I said Zadia. But that was so funny. Tyrone and Zadia are the only ones that had a conversation, even in the patience, therapist vibe. Yeah, they're the only ones that had an actual conversation.
That's true.
Even Aisha and
That we
Karen
know of.
right,
That we know of. Because once we got to elimination, we heard all these different people been on the phone. We heard Philip was rushing to the scene of Aisha's accident. I'm like, I didn't know they had no connection.
right. But
So I don't know.
you guys
Yeah.
remember last season, there were dates that we didn't even see. There were a lot of dates that people didn't even
Right.
see. I think Tressa had a date with Amber's dude, with what's his name? I can't remember, but you know,
Ron,
Ron.
Ron, KG, all of them.
Yeah, so there were dates that probably haven't even been seen, and yeah, and we saw Philip what in the intro scene, and we haven't seen him since. So there's gonna be a lot. There's gonna be a lot of scenes. So this, oops, let me go. Sorry, 1 second.
I agree. We haven't seen much of Phil, and I don't know why. Because it seems like he is making some connections,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't. He don't get no camera time. I don't know.
I wonder why too. So this is the intro scene to the cocktail party, or the not cocktail party, the deliberation round. In this one, they were saying, "Well, who do you like most?" And I really am interested in this because what do you call it? They started with, well, the scene that we saw started with Camille. She was like, "Cornelius, that's my boyfriend. I love me some Cornelius. Cornelius, Cornelius, Cornelius. Hearts in my notebook about Cornelius." And then who else said Cornelius? And then they were going down the line.
Everybody
And
was saying him, and she was like rolling her eyes. I'm like, girl, he's a good catch. Ain't nobody else on this show.
wait, Chindi, I gotta go back to Chindi real quick. So yes, Philip, in the Oprah breakdown,
37:51.
he's 51, but on the other one, he's 37. I'm like, y'all gotta stop. And I'm like, what intern is typing this stuff in? You need to get it right, just like getting Aisha's name right. So that, come on now. But yes, then three other women said Cornelius's name, and she was just so butthurt about that. But just you need to do the same thing Cornelius is doing and stop putting your eggs in one basket, because that's not going to end well for you. Um, and then Zadia, I don't did Zadia say Cornelius as well? I don't know who
She
Zadia.
did. I think she did, and she said Tyrone. I
Tyrone.
think.
Yeah, she said Cornelius and Tyrone. Sabrina, of course, said Walter. So
Mm.
so they're saying that those three guys, and then I did Courtney says Walter and
Cornelius.
Cornelius. I don't know who Carrie said, but now I do want to be.
Carrie, I got a problem with Carrie.
I do too. I do too. And last week I did want to talk about this because last week we were all for her. We were all for
Yes.
her. So now, Carrie, what is happening? Go ahead. You go first.
I just didn't understand. First of all, I'm gonna have to go back. I tried to rewatch this scene before I came on here, but when they were at the brunch, she was talking to Tyrone. And if I'm not mistaken, she said something about him, that she couldn't figure. I don't know if it was she couldn't figure him out, or she was like having issues getting to know him. She said something to that sort, I believe, at that brunch at the beginning of the episode. Now we're at the end of the episode, and she told me, y'all all know I had a thing with Tyrone. And I'm like, girl, what are you talking about? Didn't nobody know that? Or at least we didn't. And then for her to say, well, he told me that he couldn't talk to me anymore and it hurt my feelings. I'm like, what? And I'm like, what do you mean it hurt your feelings? Because you still don't know this man. Y'all have been around each other for maybe 2 days at this point. So I understand there's phone conversations and stuff like that happening, but So what? You got other people on your list. And so for her to be coming out to my, this needs to be talked about. I need closure. No, you don't, girl. Like, y'all didn't share nothing. Like, literally nothing. Like, I don't get her, where she's coming from with that. And then on the other, like, then Shiloh gonna be messy. She shouldn't have. She should have just sat there and said nothing, but to say, "Oh well, he told me, he called me right after, girl, right after he hung up with you, he called me." I'm like, if you don't sit your messy self down, he called me. He told me it was just too much to talk to more than 3 women. So I was one of those 3, but he just he couldn't, and I was like, girl, why are you talking for him? You ain't his woman either. So what is really going on? I just felt like Carrie was doing too much. I almost felt like, first one, you don't need closure. 2, I felt like she's one of those girls, like, she wants to do more after they, like, what do you call it? Reject her. So I think she feels rejected. So now it's an issue. So now she wants to put attention on that. I'm like, just let it go, girl. Just let it go. Because it's so early in the process to be hung up over someone not wanting to move forward. And I felt like it was a valid reason, because I know it's the proper way to date is to date multiple people. But I personally don't like like, that's hard. That's a lot of time and energy to be trying to give to all these different women. So I kind of like the fact that he said, you know what, trying to talk to you too would be too much for me. And I respect that reasoning. He didn't even owe her that. He don't owe her nothing. He don't owe her an explanation. She don't owe him an explanation if she was the one that changed her mind. So I'm like, Carrie, yeah, get over it, because it's not that deep, girl. But yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna go back a little bit. I agree with you as to what him calling her and saying. Uh, I agree in his answer and everything. I don't think that he should have called Shiloh and told her about it. Like, I don't know why he didn't, if he felt bad about it, then he should have called her back and say, "Hey, I feel bad about like leaving you like that or giving you that answer." But that's just I he could have just said on other shows, like, I have more of a connection with the other 3 ladies, and I let's just move on. So I'm gonna go back when the first brunch in the morning, we see them together and they're talking. I think that he didn't see a connection that early. I think that that morning he did not see that connection. So, but he saw it with Shiloh and Zadia and I don't know who else. So he was like, I want to move forward with those 3, and the one I don't have a connection with is Carrie. So I'm gonna at least be a gentleman about it. He could have not said anything. He could have not said anything. This is a dating show. He could have not said anything and moved on, but he didn't. But then right after he gets off of the phone with you, then he calls Shiloh and wants to cry on her shoulder and say how bad he felt about it. Why did you do that? Just if you felt bad about it, give her a text in the mornings or call her back or something. But say it to Carrie, not to Shiloh, because you know that these girls talk. You know that they're going to talk about it. So and I think that this also is more evidence of his not awkwardness, but his not knowing how to communicate. Like, um, so I just think that he shouldn't have said it to Shiloh. And you're right. And
Right.
Shiloh being messy or not, I don't even know if she was being yeah, a little bit, because she said he called me right after he called you. Why would you say that? Like, why was that a good idea? Why did you think
Like,
that
why
was
was that an important detail? Why did you have to put that out
yeah,
there? To me, it kind of showed his anxiety.
yeah, that's
Like,
me
he
too.
probably overthinks stuff and
Mm-hmm.
that whole tidbit. So I think it showed that. I don't fault him for that at all. At least he communicated with her and didn't just ghost her.
Right.
So I think she just got to move forward with it. And I think Shiloh was feeling herself because she knew I'm one of those 3 women that he wants to take the time to get to know, and you're not. So I felt like she was kind of trying to rub it in her face, like I was chosen and you weren't. And and yeah,
Chinky,
I just
you're our favorite.
yeah,
I'm
I
just
just
loving some
we
Chinky.
haven't
You
been
know,
getting
I love you
much
all.
from Shiloh. We don't really know
We
much
don't.
about her, and so for this to be her first tidbit or real camera time, and she's being messy, it don't sit right with me.
I agree. I do want to commend her on her hair and makeup in this scene, though. This particular scene, right? This is very pretty. This is
She
very
looked
pretty.
good right there. Them other
Yeah.
scenes, she was looking casket ready. Like I was like, I don't know what mortician you called to do that, but don't block their number. Don't call them no more.
Yes.
Don't
Look, you were
like
at the
you
front of
said.
the
What you
line,
said?
and
They
this,
looked like they were standing outside in line, and they was
right.
at the weigh in, and they finally.
You were in front of the line for the dinner party for deliberation, but the back of the line for the cocktail party last scene. So, yeah, I don't think that he should have called Shiloh about it. I think that if he was still feeling some type of way about it, then he needed to call Carrie back either the next day or even, hey, send her a text or so. And I'm not even saying a breakup text is a good idea, but solidify it with Carrie, not with Shiloh. And then Shiloh wanted to bring it up. That wasn't right either. So, and she was, and she might have even thinking in her head that I'm trying to back this man up. But you being the one of the women that he picked, how that look? How does that look? That's not good. How's that? That's not a good look. So yeah, Casket Fresh is hilarious though. This whole scene is so funny because her saying that he called me and he said that he wasn't emotionally available for more than 3 women or whatever he said, and I was like, what? Why are you upset about that? Like what? But I just think that he should have not called Carrie right after, and then Zadi and then Moomin where the Corey fixed my tire. This whole thing, it was like, y'all gotta come on, ladies. I want to go back a little bit before we go to the end dinner. This scene before this. Um, Carrington calling Sabrina and Sabrina saying, "I'm 45, you're 33," and he got mad at her. He got defensive and he was like, "Look, I'm about to tell you." That I'm trying to tell you that what does that matter? I'm trying to tell you that your age does not matter, and him getting defensive. I was like, bruh, and I think somebody else said this on another show that he had probably been hearing that from other women all the time that there's a big age difference and stuff. So that by the time he got to Sabrina, he was ready to get defensive about it. I don't care. I don't care. That's still not the way you need to talk to nobody. And I think it's a justified question on her part because as we see with her and Corey, she ain't about the BS. She's not about um playing games. So I thought that was funny. So let's go to this. Let's go. You go ahead. Go first, Kamisha.
I agree about the whole I forgot about that Sabrina moment, but I agree. Like I don't really that's a honest like that's a valid question because you have Sabrina at 45. She don't want to waste her time with the 33-year-old if she don't have to. So I think that's a valid question from all of the women. So hearing about his attitude there, then he comes here with Camille, and it's like, what are we here for? Are we here on a date, or are you just here to eliminate me and tell me I'm not ready, love? What are we here for? And I was like, bro, calm down. Like, I get it. They don't communicate with them about dates. Like, I've heard previous castmates say they just, production tells them to meet them there. And then when they get there, they find out who is actually there to go on a date with him. I get that. But his attitude was so like, what was the reasoning? Like, why are you so tense? Like, I didn't get that.
He thought he was really on a date. That's interesting that you just said that about production says, oh, you're going on a date with this person, because he said, or maybe that was in his ITM right before the date, because he said, Camille called me and asked me on a date, and I am going to have my best suit on, and I'm just fresh, and I'm looking all good. Like he had this idea that he was looking fresh and ready for this date with this woman. And she tried to talk to him, and Sheila was like, let's get right to it. The ladies and I had talked last night. We're deliberated, but he was got defensive quick. He thought he was going out for some other reason, and then when she tried to break it down to him, so I'm not ready to love, just tell me I'm not ready. Like, he just wanted to get in and out. He was not doing it. Governor Carrington is hilarious. um yeah, Carrington, I'm happy to see him go. I'm really happy to see him go. There was nobody here that was going to listen to his BS. There was nobody there. Yeah. Um, their whole conversation was very uh like a tennis match, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Mm-mm. Yeah.
He was so defensive. I'm like, what? Like, I don't know. It was like he was mad. I ain't secured my place to live yet, and y'all trying to send me home. So I think maybe that's what it was. He didn't secure his sugar mama yet, and they was telling him you're not ready. I think that's why he was mad, because there's really no other reason to be that defensive on day 2
No, you're right.
when
And
you really
Camille,
haven't made that deep of a connection with nobody. So yeah, it just didn't make, and to be that defensive with a woman, like, that's
right.
another thing. You want to be defensive and combative with multiple women are saying this about you. So that's, yeah, I don't like that at
I
all.
don't like that at all. I don't like that at all. Oh Lord, here y'all go. Here we go to the coup de grace. Uh,
If
we gotta
any
make a
man
gif out of
looked
this.
at me like that, it would be game over. I don't know. And she still sat there and said, yeah, I'm going on a second date with you. I was like, girl, what?
Excuse me.
What?
First of all, I gotta say, Tasia was the wrong person for them to send him home. They should have never had Tasia do the "You're not ready to love" speech with him. They should have never done that. I don't think that she was the right person, because
They
just like,
needed to send Sabrina, because she would have
absolutely,
got him all
just
the
like
way
Moomin,
together.
She would have just laughed. She laughed at his corny jokes. She didn't want to feel like she was, uh,
Dynamite.
yeah, browbeating him. I mean, this guy was touching her inappropriately, grabbing her, and say, "Oh, you in that orange dress? Can I go lower? Can I go lower?" No, I don't feel comfortable. That's what I'm saying. Like, he's gonna go inappropriate quick if a woman does not back him off. And this is the sad thing is, I'm like, you are so awkward. You are so awkward, and his game is that he has no game. The worst person, yeah, they should have sent Sabrina. Absolutely, they should have sent Sabrina. um the hell, they should have sent Sabrina or Camille, I think, to say, actually, I don't even know if there would have been anybody else. Sabrina, definitely, to send him home. But Tasia, and he didn't even, I don't even think he heard a word she said. She was trying to say, this was, if there's two to go home, this is either a fix it date, or like, fix up, bruh, or you're going home. And she couldn't even get out of her mouth, listen, the women have talked, and we don't like how you're moving mad. You need to do better. You need to talk to us a different kind of way. I don't even remember what she said to him, because it was a lot of this gawking. It was a lot of this. It was a lot of this. It was a lot of this. And so, to me, she was the wrong person to do it. Um, and he doesn't. I don't even think. I'm glad you got a picture of him in these eyes, because like I said earlier, I don't even think that he was looking at her face. I thought that he was looking at her chest the whole time. Like this guy, whew, this and the thing is, he's so awkward and problematic. If he were to get in trouble and somebody say he touched me inappropriately, he probably wouldn't have even. He would be like, "What are you talking about?" Like, I don't think that he understands how he's being. You understand what I'm saying? Just like Troy didn't understand, thought it was no big deal. So yeah, this whole thing, and then asking for a second date afterwards. So can I get a second date? So okay, so I'm staying. So I can't I get a second date? Like you didn't hear a word I said. So go ahead, go ahead. Maybe I'll think of something else. Go ahead, Misha.
I just felt like he was too comfortable, which kind of made me think about, because there's this whole narrative with, is he a production mole, was he production sent, when he's walking around the mixer with his phone asking people for their phone numbers. People were like, is production making him do this? So the fact that he got here and you just saw he was comfortable, he didn't have that defensiveness that Carrington had, but I don't think that's his nature anyway. But I just felt like he was a little too comfortable, almost like he was in on it. Like, okay, let's sit here, say what you got to say, tell me I'm still staying, and let's go have some real fun, basically. So that's that's what I kind of picked up from him, because the whole time he's looking at her chest, her butt, he's looking everywhere. It's like he didn't even, it was like there was no thought in his mind that I'm going home. Like he was still in play mode. So that's kind of what I picked up from it. So yeah, I don't.
That's
Then
interesting.
I was surprised at her just like falling into like, yeah, I'll go on a second date. But girl, you just said.
Well, Tasia and somebody else said that they thought she liked it. Like I think it was Wealth and Health. I believe that Tasia liked it. I do think that Tasia wants to hear words of affirmation and listen to me with the love language thing. But I think that she likes for a man to compliment her. But sweetheart, you gotta decipher when it's compliments and when it's just totally inappropriate and bordering on um attacking. Like he so I think that she wants to hear somebody appreciate her. So as we saw last week when she almost got let go, she was so hurt and upset. So I think that she was just falling all over him. And then honestly, I think it's the same thing with women. She liked the attention. That's why I said that they're the wrong ones to have the job of sending him home. It was just not that they shouldn't have done it. I did not know he had two kids though.
Who what is his name? Corey?
Corey? Yeah, Deborah Fault said he has two kids. I did not know that.
I don't know if he mentioned kids. I don't know.
I don't remember him mentioning kids in his talking head. So I want to that's interesting. Yeah, Tasia is not the one to be sending him home. Huh. That's interesting. I want to investigate that a little more about the kids. I did not know that. Because yeah. And I just think that he next week is just gonna be more. It's just gonna be more of the same thing. It's gonna be more of the same thing, y'all. So this was
Yep. Well, that's all I have for this episode.
y'all. Thank you so much. This was a lot of fun. Stay tuned for next week. We're gonna have a special guest, Tanise, on CMK After Dark. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot more content coming from both of us, both Misha and I. Yeah, this was a lot of fun. Thank y'all so much. Yeah, I
Thank you, ladies, for tuning in and cracking us up at the same time. But thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure you catch us on Thursday as well for Married at First Sight, CMK on Friday nights. And yeah, I think that's it.
I think that's it. Pray for us in this MAV streets and this Married at First Sight streets. Whew.
Mm-hmm.
Pray for Black women on